Unless you're living under a rock, you've probably heard of everyone leaving X to join BlueSky, the fastest growing social media app that was started by Twitter founder Jack Dorsey.
I guess you could say it's a mass exodus.
You've been wanting to say that for a while.
I have. More than 116,000 users in the United States deleted their accounts on X just on the day after the election alone because of owner Elon Musk's close ties to Trump and the rampant hate speech on X.
People are seeing BlueSky as a refuge from X's political controversies and are kind of like framing it as a place where social media can be enjoyable again. Millions of people joined BlueSky after the election, bringing its total users to 20 million. And this number will probably change by the time you listen to this podcast.
And something fun about BlueSky is that the feed is in reverse chronological order, which is like how all of these social media apps used to be. It's like old school Twitter. Makes me very nostalgic for middle school. And similar to the old Twitter light blue bird symbol, BlueSky's is a light blue butterfly, which the app's creator says speaks to their mission of transforming social media into something new.
And it's called BlueSky because it represents the Twitter bird being freed from a closed platform to fly in BlueSky's open ecosystem.
Oh.
So there's a lot of symbolism in what BlueSky is doing, and they're not really hiding the fact that it's supposed to be a more evolved, almost like utopian version of X.
BlueSky's whole MO is making social media decentralized. So unlike X or Facebook or Instagram, which are owned by a single organization, BlueSky has no central ownership, and the users dictate their experience with customizable feeds.
BlueSky also has anti-toxicity features, which basically protects users from harassment and dogpiling, which is when like a bunch of posts attack a single user.
And the mastermind behind all of these decisions is refreshingly a young woman. So her name is Jay Graber. She's originally from Oklahoma. She's biracial, and she was originally a software developer. And Jay was only 30 years old when Jack Dorsey asked her to be BlueSky's CEO. And BlueSky was created in reaction to the perceived dangers of a leader abusing control of their platform, which is an accusation that's leveled at Elon Musk frequently. And I guess we'll just call him Elon today because Musk seems formal.
So true. And BlueSky has made their position pretty clear. So while Elon spent election night with Trump, BlueSky's account posted on X, "I can guarantee that no BlueSky team members will be sitting with a presidential candidate tonight and giving them direct access to control what you can see online."
And we've talked about Trump and Elon's friendship on our show. I believe we even called it a bromance. And you know, Mabel, if you were running for president, I would totally spend $119 million to get you elected.
Oh, wow. I'm so honored. As of now, Elon does have the biggest reach on X, and his political posts about Trump were actually seen by so many people that reports estimate it would cost a campaign $24 million in ads to reach as many people as Elon's posts.
That's crazy. And as Trump and Elon have gotten closer, people have become increasingly worried about how Elon is using his dictator-level sway over the platform.
So last year, Elon was getting reportedly annoyed that his posts weren't doing that well on X, like they weren't getting as many likes or reactions. So he made X deploy a code to artificially boost his tweets by a factor of 1,000, which is called the power multiplier and only refers to him. He tweeted this meme in the days after this was applied. And for the people listening, it's a girl labeled Elon's tweets force-feeding milk to a girl sitting down labeled Twitter. So Elon is force-feeding us his tweets.
Oh, okay. And on its face, there's nothing inherently wrong with boosting an owner's content, except that almost 90 of Elon's posts this year have promoted claims about the US election that fact checkers have rated either false or misleading. On election day alone, he amplified anti-immigrant conspiracies and accused Democrats of voter fraud.
And people are now pointing to the fact that Elon's obvious political leanings have changed the app's landscape, since now conservative voices actually perform better on X.
And it's funny to me that Twitter was once considered a liberal stomping ground, so much so that Trump literally created Truth Social as a alternative to Twitter for Republicans. But now X is also conservative, and now they're best friends, but they still have rival apps.
Well, it's not much of a rivalry, since X is by far the highest performing text-based app out there. They actually told advertisers in September that they have over 570 million monthly active users.
Whoa, and that makes it even crazier that the value of X has absolutely tanked since Elon took it over in 2022. It's now worth only $9.4 billion, which is a far cry from the $44 billion that he paid for it. And we all remember his sync gimmick on day one.
He had video of himself walking into the Twitter headquarters with the phrase, "Let that sink in." And he literally was carrying a sink into the headquarters.
Classic, love it. But it's not my favorite funny Elon story.
No, me neither. Okay, count of three. Say what your favorite is. 1, 2, 3.
His obsession with the letter X. So, as we said, apparently Elon has always been extremely obsessed with the letter X. He actually tried to rebrand PayPal as X.com when he was CEO in 2000, but nobody agreed with him because of the fact that X.com sounds like an explicit website.
And you know what's crazy? Elon was actually ousted following a coup orchestrated by Peter Thiel, who we all know is JD Vance's billionaire mentor, who's allegedly gotten him every job he's ever had, and was the one who convinced Trump to pick Vance as a running mate.
It's crazy that all of these billionaires know each other and go so far back. But even after all of this, Elon didn't give up on X. So as most of you know, his third Tesla model is called Model X. He actually wanted all the models together to spell the word sexy, which I'm upset. And Ford owns a Model E car, so Elon had to settle on Model 3, which is a backwards E. So he kind of did it, and we're all buying scars.
Congratulations. And lest we not forget, his son's name, XAEA12 Musk, which is pronounced Ash, of course.
Of course. And then, as we all know, he bought and eventually rebranded Twitter to X. So he loves the letter X, but he has changed the app in more than just name alone. When he started the job, he started with slashing 80% of Twitter's workforce and cut legal departments and teams responsible for keeping the platform safe.
Sounds like what he wants to do with Doge, his new Department of Government Efficiency under Trump.
Ironically, though, he did start off as a Democrat. He's confessed to voting for Obama, Clinton, even Biden the first time around, but he eventually became critical of the party's stance on the economy, immigration, and gun control, calling the policies woke.
And then he officially endorsed Trump after his assassination attempt, and the rest is history.
And Elon has always been a free speech absolutist. I mean, that's why he even bought Twitter. He said it was to make it a free speech platform around the globe. So this was obviously a cause that was really close to his heart. And after buying it, he gutted content moderation teams because he clearly wanted Twitter to be this digital free-for-all space.
But the double-edged sword of anything goes is that there's been a marked rise in hate speech since Elon has taken over and made these changes, even leading to multiple lawsuits against the company, including one for failing to properly moderate anti-Semitic content and Holocaust denial, and another for refusing to block a video showing a bishop being stabbed in a church.
The Center for Countering Digital Hate found that engagement on hate speech is way up since Elon took over, and we have some pretty jarring numbers. Slurs against Black people more than doubled after Elon took over, and slurs against transgender people increased by 62%.
But even though Elon once said he'd only let his company suppress speech at gunpoint, many experts have called him a hypocrite because, in fact, he has taken down accounts he doesn't like. Left-wing journalists, people who criticize him, even an account that tracked his private jet usage. That doesn't seem very free speech.
And it goes beyond him. He's been found leveraging X to make some pretty powerful friends, notably leaders of countries with pretty restrictive speech laws, which is interesting. And since Elon took over, he's handed over private user data to governments to help them identify anonymous accounts, which is government surveillance. And according to research that was cited by Congress, Elon has complied with 99% of the nearly 1,000 requests from governments to suppress content.
For example, then Twitter blocked a BBC documentary that was critical of India's Prime Minister Modi at the urging of the Indian government. And at the time, Elon claimed he didn't know why this documentary was being blocked on the platform. But then a couple months later, Twitter suppressed Indian users' access to activist, journalist, and politician accounts amid a government-ordered blackout. So people speculate he might have known more than he let on.
Similarly, last year, X announced that it had taken actions to restrict some content in Turkey, aka it censored accounts that criticized Turkey's authoritarian President Erdogan the day before Turkey's national election. And shockingly, or unshockingly, you can all be the judge of that, just months after X did Erdogan's bidding, the president asked Elon to build a Tesla factory in Turkey.
Oh, and going back to the India example, it might be relevant information that earlier this year, the Financial Times reported that Tesla is exploring locations for a $3 billion factory in India.
And now that Elon Musk has such a prominent government position for the next 4 years and has the ear of the president, it is worrisome that his priorities and loyalties don't always align with U.S. interests.
Right, and his decisions have real world consequences.
Yeah, when Elon bought Twitter, we weren't expecting it to have this like impact on global politics, but he's undoubtedly become a major player. This even goes back to 2022 during a really pivotal time in the Russia-Ukraine war. So Ukraine had launched a drone attack targeting a Russian sea fleet, and as they were preparing to launch, commanders realized that their connection to Starlink, which is Elon's internet satellite company, wasn't working.
So the Ukrainian commanders, who are of course supported by the US Defense Department, asked Elon to turn Starlink on so they could complete their attack on the Russian Navy, but Elon declined. He said, if I had agreed to their request, then SpaceX would be explicitly complicit in a major act of war.
And then that month, Elon proposed a plan to end the war by having Ukraine cede territory to Russia. He actually posted his plan on X, which was interesting. And naturally, Moscow praised the idea while Ukrainian President Zelensky denounced it.
Since then, Elon has been caught promoting Russian disinformation and has allegedly been in contact with Russian President Vladimir Putin regularly since 2022, discussing everything from business to geopolitics to personal topics. I guess this dude's got a thing for authoritarian leaders.
So that is your TLDR on why people are leaving X and flocking to BlueSky.
And as regular citizens, there's not a whole lot we can do if we disagree with someone in power to make our voices heard. And boycotting is one of the only tried and true ways to send that message. So if this trend continues, it's safe to assume Elon will get the message if he hasn't already.
And like so many people, you can leave the app. I mean, it's been around since 2006, and so many of us kind of like grew up through Twitter. Like I know it was my favorite social media app for a really long time. But in the past decade, we have seen apps die, like Tumblr or MySpace or even Facebook. So if users kind of get turned off enough, they can leave an app and find something better. So maybe this migration is the beginning of the end, because Twitter isn't even Twitter anymore. It's X now, and that means something else entirely.